spectacular Lang Co Bay in Lăng Co, Vietnam. The bay is the alluring sight to behold and provides the picturesque settings for the Laguna Lang Co Vietnam Airlines Triathlon 2013. Join us in the next hour, along with an elite field of professional triathletes, as we race to discover Vietnam. Welcome to Lang Co and welcome to the inaugural Laguna Lang Co Vietnam Airlines Triathlon 2013. The Laguna Lang Co Triathlon aims to build on the success of its sister event, the legendary Laguna Phuket Triathlon. Over the years, the Laguna Phuket Triathlon has attracted and gained support from many well-known names from around the world. International triathlon legends like Chris McCormack, fellow Australian Belinda Granger and Californian speeder Chris Leito have grown to become true and valued friends of the Laguna Phuket Triathlon and have jumped at the opportunity to participate in this new race.
As soon as word got out that there was going to be a sister event to Laguna Phuket, I think I was the first one to put my hand up. It's no secret that I love the race. I love the race directors. I think they put on one of the best races or race weekends in the world.
Wow, you pulled together an amazing field. Hopefully, I can be as competitive as I can be and stay as close to those boys as possible.
This year it's been good to come back and to race again.
One of the best things of our job for triathletes is competing in different places of the world. So I love especially competing in this part of the world because it's unique. I love especially the tropical vegetation, the food. I love to compete in Asia.
The triathlon has attracted recognised names as well as new faces from regional and international countries, all eager to make their debut in Vietnam and test their mettle against the 1.2 kilometre swim, the 62 kilometre bike ride and 12 kilometres run course. The swimming course is fairly straightforward as it is a point-to-point swim. Athletes start their journey bright and early at the Banyan Tree Lang Co beach. They swim out approximately 350 metres, turn right and swim parallel to the shoreline. They make another right turn after 1 kilometre before swimming back to shore and exiting the water.
Beautiful swim, it's got some waves in it, so that's my type of swim. When you're racing a guy like Chris Lieto, I'm usually a stronger swimmer than he is, and I would have loved to have about a minute on him out of the swim, but I don't think that's going to happen.
The competitors continue on their bikes next. The bike course takes the athletes away from the beautiful beach onto a scenic tour of the province of Hue.
The bike course is beautiful. I think it's going to be a very fast course, a lot of long, flat areas, going through the rural areas and the rice fields and stuff, so it's amazing, beautiful, with some really nice climbs and some challenging climbs as well.
They then finish the triathlon with a traditional run. This time the run is somewhat unique because the entire 2-lap course will take place around a golf course.
It's beautiful. There are like many little bumps, but the grass is very smooth, so it will be very nice to run. And I'm very looking forward because most of the triathletes are just running on the hard surface, so this is just perfect.
In the women's race, 3-time Laguna Phuket triathlete champion Radka Vidakova and 2-time Laguna Phuket triathlon champion Belinda Granger are going head-to-head once again. Radka, who led the women's field from start to finish in Phuket, is keen to continue her winning ways and lets us in on her secrets to success.
I think triathlon is a very difficult sport, and the most difficult thing is to have patience, to get up every day, do training, rest good, and then next day again. And yeah, but also enjoy the sport. I love triathlon. It's just perfect because you never get bored. You can swim, bike or run, and it's just perfect.
3 podium finishes and 2 top 10 results in the past 6 months only proves that the Czech Olympian is at the top of her game and is ready to take on any challenge.
I feel very good, physically and mentally. I'm relaxed because it's a very nice race. It's friendly. I know many people here. We are like friends, so I feel like more maybe on holidays.
It's not going to be easy for Radka. Belinda is also in the mix and she's ready to take her on. Despite the healthy competition between the 2 leading ladies, Radka only has admiration and kind words to say about her good friend.
Great triathlete, racing so long and still having fun, enjoying living the great life. We know each other already a few years and she's telling me like she could be my mother, but we are like more sisters.
Chris McCormack is one of the most successful athletes in triathlon history and leads the impressive pro men's lineup at the new resort in central Vietnam. Macca holds legendary status, having won the Ironman World Championships twice and is the only man to hold Olympic distance ITU and ITU World Cup Series wins at the same time. Inspirational, powerful and changing the sport of triathlon from the inside out are words that have been used to describe him.
Wow, I'm honoured that, I've always wanted to leave my footprint on this sport. I grew up as a young aspiring triathlete in my teenage years, wishing that I could one day be a professional and travel the world and come to places like Vietnam and Phuket and many other places around the world. It was my childhood dream. And then I lived it, and as you get older, as I turn 40, you start to reflect on what your footprint on this sport will be, because there's a lot of athletes that come after you, and I just hope that the sport we leave behind was as great as the sport that was left behind for me. So I'm always looking at supporting races like this in Vietnam and supporting a lot of race directors around the world who are doing great things for multi-sport racing, because this sport's seriously cool. It's been my life, and I hope it's the life of many other athletes to come.
The Aussie, who just turned 40, celebrated his birthday in style with a 3-day bash. Where else but Sin City in Las Vegas?
It was a marquee birthday. A lot of friends came across. I'm from Australia, so a lot of us took the journey up to Las Vegas, and everybody knows what Las Vegas is like. It's what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and we had a fantastic time. I think everybody who's 40 likes to say that 40 is the new 20. I don't recover like I did when I was in my 20s, and I don't look like I did when I was in my 20s, but I feel great, and I wouldn't want to be in the age that I am right now. So I'm happy to be 40, and I feel fit, physically fit, emotionally stable, and I just love where I am in my life. It's a great age to be.
This renowned legend, once named the world's fittest man by ESPN, is definitely in his prime, and he's certainly not going to let his age slow him down. He did, however, injure his hand merely 5 weeks ago, but has assured us that everything's okay.
The hand is surprisingly not too bad. It's finally I'm moving it a bit, but I broke my hand 5 weeks ago in Abu Dhabi, and this will be the second swim I've done in 5 weeks, which makes me a little apprehensive. I'm usually a strong swimmer, so maybe I'll be giving up a little bit of time to these guys. It was just an unfortunate string of events, and that's how life rolls.
With such an impressive lineup of triathletes, a press conference was held to create some excitement and anticipation to the event, and at the same time introduce the triathlon star-studded lineup to members of the mass media. A race briefing was also held to provide the necessary information like the rules, the regulations and also the race courses for the participating athletes. All of the athletes were treated to a carbo loading session, past the party held at Marketplace, one of the many dining options available at the Laguna Lang Co resort. So the day of the race came around, and joining me is Dylan Wood from Meta Sports, a head coach, trainer, triathlete, Ironman himself, and also helps to arrange these events throughout the region. Dylan, the plaster overload is important, isn't it, for the athletes the night before, and then the anticipation of the actual day and it arrives?
Yeah, absolutely. What you've got to realise is that, or particularly remember, is you've got to get up 2 hours earlier than you would normally get up. Have your regular breakfast and make sure it's all digested before you start getting into the action.
Well, it looks as though the seas were swelling. How much of a factor does this play? Because there are 3 different parts to this race, but obviously the anticipation is there to get into the water, but there were big swells here, weren't there?
Yeah, there were, particularly yesterday. I mean, they seem to have calmed down a bit today, but they're going to favour people like Macca. I mean, after all, he's a surf lifesaver among his other many talents, so he's probably actually looking forward to this. Some of the age groupers are probably looking at it with a little bit of trepidation, but it seems to have calmed down. They've shortened the course to about a 1.2k as opposed to the 1.8, which I think is a good idea. Just take the pressure off a bit.
What's the difference between swimming in the open seas? Is there that much difference?
Well, the big thing you're going to have problems with is probably sighting, particularly if there's a big swell. It's very difficult to see the marker buoys. It's very difficult to see over people's heads. So you've really got to pick a point on the coastline or pick a cloud out to sea so that you can sight effectively, because you're never going to see a buoy in these sort of conditions.
And this is what everybody waits for, isn't it? It's the actual start. And what kind of emotions go through the body, particularly these top athletes that are competing in this triathlon?
Well, what they're going to be looking to do pretty much straight off is to relax. As I say, you've got some surf coming out there. You're going to have to get underneath those waves, and then once you get out into the open ocean or past the surf break, you can see it steadied down a little bit. So relaxation really is the key.
Dylan, you pointed something out a little bit earlier to me, something to do with the tides.
Yeah, well, on these conditions, you're going to get a bit of a rip current coming off the beach, and if you can find that, and I think Macca may have done, you can see them just coming in from the left-hand side there. You're going to be able to take advantage of that.
Still to come on the show, Chris Lieto's mission to make a difference and make this race more than just a race. Behind every successful event, and in order to continue to flourish and progress greatly, depends on the support of every event sponsor. Title sponsors Laguna Lang Co has announced that Vietnam Airlines is another official title sponsor of the triathlon. Over 15 years, Vietnam Airlines has grown and earned an impressive portfolio. It has expanded its network to 20 cities throughout the country and flies to 26 international destinations in the USA, Europe, Australia and Asia. Having Vietnam Airlines, the national airline of Vietnam, on board reaffirms the significance of the triathlon, not only as a sporting event for athletes, but also as a showcase of Lang Co as a stunning travel destination. Lang Co is situated next to the South China Sea on the central coast of Vietnam. It is renowned for its natural landscape and has the honour of owning one of the most spectacular bays in the world, the Lang Co Bay. Lang Co has almost everything that nature can offer with its sandy beaches and luscious green tropical forests. Lang Co is also conveniently located to several distinctive UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The Imperial City of Hue, which offers a glimpse into the past. The ever-popular Hoi An, a town oozing with charm and history. And the archaeological site of Mai Son, a sanctuary featuring a wealth of temples and buildings of intricate architectural grandeur. Soaking up what Vietnam has to offer is triathlon legend Chris Lieto. Lieto took some time out from his busy schedule the other day for his other passion, charity. He's the brainchild and one of the ambassadors of More Than Sports, an organisation which is committed to helping and improving the lives of local communities, making a positive impact along the way.
So we try to identify what the needs are wherever we travel around the world and race, to find what that need is, to go and do something to help in that need and raise awareness for that. So it's just raising that awareness that there's more to life than just racing, but enjoy that passion that it is to race and compete. Have fun to go to amazing places and see beautiful country like we are right here in Lang Co, and enjoy a beautiful race, but then also give back to those in need in the community and the kids in the area.
In Lang Co, Vietnam, Chris and his organisation will be helping to raise funds to provide local schools with the basic necessities like adequate sanitation and clean and pure drinking water. And as a gesture of appreciation, Chris, along with his son Kaiden and other benefactors, were treated to fun and games and performances by one of their lucky recipients, Loc Toi Primary School. So all good on the charity front. The sponsors were all in place, but the swim, well, the conditions looked pretty bad, didn't they, Dylan? But nonetheless, you mentioned that drift. They did have a little effect. Did it have an effect on the times?
Yeah, I think it did actually. As I say, one or two of the pros were able to take advantage of, and there's a lovely picture. It's probably Macca body surfing in through, and that's going to make a real difference to time. Oh, they're two of them together, so it looks like it's Macca and Chris Lieto surfing that wave in beautifully together. I mean, that's carbon copy pretty. That's superb.
That's a technique in itself, isn't it? How important is that to gain that advantage coming in for the transition after the swim?
Well, he's probably picked up about 5 or 10 seconds on everybody else on that one. Here comes Freddie Cronenberg coming out the water in third place, and that looked a bit like Justin Granger as well.
So the athletes starting to make their way out into the transition period. How difficult is that? Because they've just gone from the swim, their feet are all sandy, they've got their swim costumes on, and that has to be a quick change, isn't it?
Yeah, they're going to be in and out of this transition probably in about a minute and a half. You know, anything more than that is really not acceptable for these guys. In terms of sand on the feet, it's actually not that much of a, you know, it's not a long ride. They're not going to worry too much about that. They're going to have their shoes on their bike. As long as Macca can remember where it is. And you can see he's just got his swim skin suit straight off, and he's got his helmet on, which is a requirement before you leave transition, and he's straight out there. As I say, he's probably out there in about a minute and a half, first out on the bike, just where he wants to be. You've got Chris Lieto, you know, nibbling at his heels on the way out. Absolutely wonderful.
I'm still curious at the sand. Does it not stay in the toes, and for the run, does that not affect them later on, or do you normally naturally get that out of the system?
No, you just get used to it. You know, on the longer races, you might get a few blisters, but not to worry about it.
Well, here's the leaderboard, and it is Super Mac at the top. It's Chris Lieto in second, only 4 seconds separating these two athletes.
Oh, the transitions are very important. In a race of this distance, they, you know, it doesn't sound much, but if you're giving up 20 seconds because you're tardy in transition, it's very difficult to make that up physically. The clock doesn't stop. You know, the person who crosses the line is the person who gets there the fastest, and the clock doesn't stop in transition. So you want to make sure that when you're stopped, you stop for the shortest possible time. You know, you really need to fix up those transitions and treat them as an integral part of your overall race plan.
Well, the women are same as the men in transition. It was Radka and Belinda, the strongest two athletes in this field, definitely, Dylan.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to put this in perspective, it's a bit like people going to their local swim pool and swimming in 50 metres in about 35 seconds, but doing about 30 of those. All right, so that's what these athletes have just done, and now they're going to get on the bike, obviously, and put some pretty impressive times on that as well.
And the ladies' standard is particularly high at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Belinda is, you know, a tremendous ambassador for the sport. You know, always smiley, always happy, always upbeat, always supportive. She really is a superb ambassador.
Well, they both came out within short time of each other, just 31 seconds separating Radka and Belinda. Sarah Wheeler excelling, even though she's come back over a minute and a half behind the top two, but there's still all to play for in this triathlon. After the swim at Lang Co Bay, athletes get to enjoy a scenic one-lap 62-kilometre time trial bike course. But as the day heats up, so does the physical challenge. Immediately after heading out of Laguna Lang Co, athletes will have to master the first climb. The course then takes them onto open roads, through the rice fields and some villages. It's then through a short section on the National Highway which connects Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. They then face their second climb over a mountain pass, and the beautiful Lapan Lagoon will come into view. Athletes will ride around the lagoon before reaching Lang Co town, where they will head back to Laguna Lang Co with one final climb just before transition. This course will be highly competitive and tactical, as it's a non-drafting race.
Basically, drafting is when you slipstream behind the rider in front of you. You get a huge advantage if you ride right behind the bike rider in front.
So if someone is in the front on a bike, he's blocking the wind as you're going, and so it makes it easier for the people that are behind.
It's a massive saving of power, so not only do you end up riding faster, but you save your legs for the run as well. And obviously in our sport, it's not allowed. You know, we have to keep a certain distance behind the bike in front of us.
The rules are at 10 meters behind. You have to stay, which is where the air kind of reconnects, and each person will ride under their own effort and their own ability.
So the bike ride was started. The fans, well, in their dinghies as well, watching what went on. Not those sorts of bikes though, is it, Dylan? I know that some of your guys were there from Meta Sports and they enjoyed themselves. This is not as grueling as it could be when it comes to Ironman, but nonetheless it's nice and flat, and that always helps.
Yeah, it was a very nice, fast course for them, and the temperature actually was ideal. It wasn't stinking hot. The only thing they said they needed to watch were a few little excursions onto the track, as it were. There were a few goats and chickens walking across the road, but apart from that, they said it was an absolutely stunning course. They were spending most of their time looking at the scenery rather than focused on the race. Unlike these guys who are dead focused on the race at the moment.
Well, they're the serious guys that want to get the first and second places, and one of those guys was Chris Lieto. Well, he's 6 feet tall, weighs 160 pounds and has about 5.5% body fat. Boy, I'm jealous. Californian speedster Chris Lieto is widely regarded as one of the fastest cyclists in the multiple stage event. Chris has a jaw-dropping resume in the world of triathlon. He has 15 huge victories under his belt, including 3 Ironman wins, a US Ironman Championship, and 3 top 10 finishes at the World Championships in Hawaii, his personal best coming in second place back in 2009. Unfortunately, due to an Achilles injury, he has not raced as much as he would have liked, which has kept him on the sidelines. However, His dedication and discipline to the sport has paid off, and he's finally back on the race circuit, faster and stronger than ever.
Yeah, everything's going really well. You know, last year was a challenging year, having an Achilles issue and having some calf problems, and this year it's been good to come back and to race again. You know, 2-3 weeks ago I raced in Hawaii and won that. I had some flare-ups a little bit in my calf, but everything's going well, running again, and looking forward to this race again.
His reputation as the Uber biker in the sport doesn't come easy. It combines physical prowess, hard work and mental toughness to succeed.
I just go out and I race as hard as I can. I do the best that I can in every race that I go to. And I've been lucky and blessed to have the ability to ride fast. And so I think because of my consistency, every race I go to, as far as consistently am riding well and usually first off the bike. And sometimes it gives me a victory and sometimes it doesn't, but it's still a joy just to be out there and give it everything I have.
Chris is not only a world-class athlete, but a devoted family man, entrepreneur and ambassador for an increasingly popular sport. He's earned himself a huge fan base, but he has one fan who's especially close to his heart.
My son Caden is 9 now, and he's been coming to Hawaii since he was born, and so he's watched me race the Ironman World Championship every year since he was born, and so he's grown up in it and followed it. And I think he would say that he's proud of his dad, and I hope that I've been a good example to him as well.
So the bike ride well into effect, and it was a good race, wasn't it? And it's a good track, you've already mentioned that, Dylan. But how important is it to keep taking on the fluids?
Yeah, this is extremely important. I mean, nutrition and hydration on the bike, you've got the opportunity to do both of those every 15 minutes or so. In fact, some athletes set their alarm clocks just to remind them to make sure that they're drinking and also putting some nutrition in as well. So extremely important. But as I say, it's fairly overcast. It hasn't been a brutally hot day, so really nice conditions for them. But nonetheless, you can see them taking on the aid at the aid stations.
It's really good as well that this event was supported by the villages as it wound through and around the lagoon and up and down the hills. And that's always something good for the athletes themselves, isn't it, to experience that along with this event?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the local population coming out and supporting this race is absolutely wonderful. It all adds character and it all adds colour to it. We saw a shot of Macca there just coming through. We've focused on the fact that Chris Lieto has taken Macca, and the other person who's moving up, of course, is Massimo Scarlett. So this looks like he's really hammering away on the ride. Here comes Radka as well. She looks like she's got a few seconds over Belinda. So that race is really settling down into what was expected, frankly.
What sort of speed are they going at here, Dylan?
Well, you know, the girls are probably averaging about 35 kilometers an hour right now. The boys are probably up around 40, even to 45. You know, Massimo's a great time trialist, ex-professional cyclist. He can really crank the big gears. It's extraordinary speeds.
Belinda Granger is the darling of global triathlon, who has charmed and delighted her many fans with a string of achievements during her established 18-year career. Over the years, Belinda has globe-trotted all over the world in pursuit of glory. Yet she prefers to do her majority of her racing in the Asian Pacific region.
I just love it. I love Asian food. I love the Asian people. It's a very, very easy trip from me from Australia with minimal time difference. So for me, it just makes sense to race in Asia. And over the last 10 to 15 years, I've just seen so many amazing races pop onto the scene in all array of different countries. So for me, it's the perfect place to go to. The races here are maybe not the most competitive in the world, but they are by far, condition-wise, the hardest. You know, they're very, very, very hot, very humid. Often you're out there on your own, so you know you don't have a lot of people to keep you motivated, to keep you going. So you know you're racing against yourself a lot of the time. So all of these factors make it very, very difficult racing.
This will be her first race of the year, and she's excited to test herself at Lăng Co. Belinda and the rest of the athletes will be competing for a total of $15,000 in prize money, with the men's and women's champions taking home $3,000 each. Only 43 years young, Belinda is still able to run away with convincing wins, but where does she get her stamina from?
I have trouble sitting still, I have trouble sitting quietly. I'm definitely hyperactive, there's no doubt about that. I think that's why I got into the sport in the first place. You know, when you have to swim, bike, run, there's not much time to do anything else, so I think that's one of the main attractions to the sport. I turned 43 at the end of this year, but I don't feel it. You know, I mean, obviously there's days when I have to sleep in, but most of the times I still act and behave like a 21-year-old, so I think as long as you keep the head young, the body will follow.
So the ladies' race in full effect, and it is just these two really, isn't it, going head to head?
Yeah, it really is, but I mean, whilst they're racing each other, they're really racing their own race. You know, they're settling down, getting into what is effectively a 62k time trial. They know what their capabilities are and what they're capable of, so that's what they're doing.
Coming up, Maka and Leto trade their 2 wheels for 4 and have a dose of fun in the sun. Welcome back. We're at the Lang Co, Vietnam for the Laguna Lang Co Vietnam Airlines Triathlon 2013. The inaugural triathlon will give many of the regular participants of the Phuket Triathlon a chance to add another event to their racing calendar. Many of the elements of the legendary race, renowned for its adventure, breathtaking views, and of course, local hospitality, is going on.
It's a beautiful resort, it's brand new, and to be here and to enjoy the 5-star luxury accommodations that they have is just amazing. And so again, it's about enjoying these opportunities and these amazing facilities that we have, but also to partner with Laguna and the Banyan Tree and Angsana and what they do for the communities that they're a part of. So wherever they have a resort, they're always giving back, and it's an honor to be a part of that, an honor to partner with them in these races and in these give-backs.
Laguna Lang Co is the first and largest fully integrated world-class hospitality development in Vietnam, which offers travellers the best of both worlds. The development includes the Banyan Tree, Angsana, hotels and spas, and an 18-hole championship golf course designed by Sir Nick Faldo himself. There are private villas, resort residents, convention facilities, and a plethora of recreational activities for all the guests of all ages. And they say all work and no play makes Chris a dull boy. Well, Maka and Lieto sneaked in some fun under the sun on their day off.
A couple of days before, you're just trying to relax a little bit, and you know, it's a nice way to kick off an early morning, get up and have a coffee. You know, to be able to walk out the front of your hotel and play on the beach was good fun.
Wasn't completely all fun for Macca though, was it, Dylan? Because as the race continued on the bikes, he got caught, didn't he?
Yeah, he got caught first by Lieto, and then Massimo really putting the pedal to the metal, and looks like he's really cranking at about 45k an hour. As I say, professional background is really paying dividends on this one, so he's giving everybody a lesson in time trialing today. But he's certainly made, 5 minutes already on Macca now, and if Macca's not careful, that's gonna stretch a little bit, which is going to make it difficult, obviously, when it comes down to the run.
The Buffaloes were trying to join in as well, but they weren't as quick as the bikes. Does it make that much difference if you can get a minute, 2-3 minutes ahead when you go into the transition for the run?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you've got a minute to 2 minutes on the bike, that's about a kilometre ahead, frankly. I mean, a minute, 2 minutes on a run is probably a matter of a few hundred metres. So a really good, healthy lead. I mean, Massimo here I think he's probably taken about 10 minutes out of Macca at this stage. So that's a really nice, healthy lead going out onto the run. Here comes Chris, still in contention. I mean, there's no reason why Chris Lieto, that is, couldn't pull this one back on the run as well. But as you see, coming into transition, they're really going to try and get their legs going, turning over as quickly as they possibly can when they get out onto that run. It's going to be a question of just throwing a pair of run shoes on, throwing a cap on, sticking the shades back on and getting out on the run as fast as possible.
And getting some fluids down as well, I suppose.
Yeah, well, they should have taken the opportunity to do that on the bike on the way in. They've had ample opportunity to do that. All of those bikes have a lot of hydration on them, so they should be okay.
Well, after the bike ride, it looked like this. Massimo Cigana was in the lead by almost 6 minutes ahead of Chris Lieto. Chris McCormack came in third. So all to do with the run and plenty of work for Supermac to catch back up. As for the women with the bike, again, we do know that it is Radka and Belinda. And you mentioned that they were going probably throughout the middle of the race at about 30-35 kilometres an hour. Will it be pushed towards the end to get that extra bit of a lead, Dylan?
Yeah, they're going to get a little bit tactical now. I mean, there's only a few seconds separating them now, frankly. So whereas before they were probably looking at running their own time trial, they're riding a tactical race now. They're keeping an eye on each other. They know each other's capabilities and abilities and very respectful of it. So, they're, as I say, it's coming down to a bit of tactics now. But Belinda probably needs to have a bit more of a lead over Radka, frankly, going into the run right now.
Radka's the better runner.
Yeah.
Well, the transition period is coming and going for the ladies. Are they planning ahead as well, though? They're looking for the future events that are through the season. So it's very much building up for the whole year, isn't it?
That's right. They're all going to have their marquee races, the ones that they really want to go for. I mean, you've got to be able to admire these people. They sustain the intensity of their training and their racing all the way through the season. They have to, because, triathlon is a worldwide sport and they travel the world doing these races. But there are the choice races that they really want to go for and really want to win and prepare themselves for it.
And they have to get everything set here, don't they, so that they can do transition really quickly?
Absolutely. I mean, there again, as I say, it's a question of throwing on some socks and shoes, and Belinda will now get her helmet off, throw on a cap possibly, or it's going to be a Belinda hatlet. She's find a way out. Actually, that's one of the things that you really need to do when you're in transition setting up. You really need to know your way in and out. It's a good idea to walk it out.
Well, as you can see, there's just 25 seconds separating Radka and Belinda. So it's going to go down to the wire between those two. And as always, we end the triathlon with the traditional 12-kilometre run. This time, the course run is very, very different. It consists of 2 laps around an 18-hole Laguna Lang Co golf course designed by Sir Nick Faldo. The surface will be mainly grass, with some shorter gravel track sections, and the triathletes will have to overcome an undulating course to reach the finish line. Different, Dylan, isn't it? Totally different to what is the norm, which is usually a road circuit.
Yeah, these athletes are going to quite enjoy it, actually. I'm sure, just being on some nice soft surface there. As long as it's not too slippy, and as long as their feet aren't too sweaty inside the shoes at this stage. But you can see Massimo, I mean, look at that, isn't that a lovely stride? He's just come off a time trial bike, 62 kilometres at, you know, an average speed of 45k an hour. And those legs are really working magnificently. And of course, that's really is the secret of triathlon, being able to get off the bike and post some really impressive run times. I mean, here's the master of them all, Macca. I mean, just look at that style. It really is magnificent, particularly when you see him digging into the half marathons and the full marathons of Ironman racing. But absolutely superb style of running. And here we have some other age groupers coming through the nice rolling fairways.
Well, it was everybody, wasn't it? It's not just the pro athletes and the pro triathletes that competed in this event. It was all sorts. It's everybody who wants to have a go, wants to get fit, or who loves triathlon.
Well, that's the wonderful thing about triathlon. You've got age groups in 5-year intervals all the way up to sort of 80 plus, so there's no excuse for you, mate.
I might have to give it a go a little bit later on as we have a look back at Belinda and Radka and their battle. Who's going to come out on top?
Well, as I say, I mean, one has to favour Radka just having a minute or 2 minutes on this 12k run. You know, as I say, Belinda is a serious trooper, but I think Radka's probably going to take it at this stage.
I'm going to reflect on my ticking off from Dylan and should I become a triathlete. But when we come back, we'll see you at the finish line and we'll find out who has legs that are made of steel. So the runners in full effect and everybody having a go. And like we said earlier, Dylan, isn't it? It's not just about the top echelon of athletes, it's about all sorts. Everyone wants to get involved. And again, it's very much a personal thing and a personal challenge to some of these athletes.
Yeah, it is, and it really all comes down to the run. I know in these shorter races, you know, we talk about if you get some time on the bike in the bag, it's pretty difficult at the top end for people to overtake you. But you know, at the end of the day on triathlon, it really comes down to the run. You know, can you put it all together, particularly on the longer races? But you know, here's the man himself giving us you know, an exhibition of great running, as is Massimo. Beautiful style. Look up to just how he's taking that little rise there. Beautiful.
Well, a wonderful, wonderful stride, that's for sure. Let's have a look at Massimo Cigana because he'll be challenging Macca and Lieto for top honours. Massimo is a 3-time Laguna Phuket triathlon winner and is no stranger to the racing circuit. Residing in Europe, it is surprising that he has adapted so well to the sweltering conditions of the Aegean region.
I live in Venice, so it's hot and humid in summer, cold and humid in the winter. So for me, it's not so difficult to take the local weather. I love this condition. I go very fast in this condition. I don't suffer many problems. Maybe the other guys have the problem, but not me.
He's feeling very confident as indeed a potential threat to the podium as he enjoys pushing himself to the limits.
The beginning of my triathlon career, I started with a triathlon sprint, very short, and then I adapted my body to compete in the longer distance. I prefer to compete in longer distance because I'm not a good swimmer, so I have time to recover the gap that I took in the swim. So for me it's better, much better for the long distance. It's a sport to put yourself on the limit. I love this part of the sport, especially for it's never boring. It's a three different sport. You can do everything in just one sport.
It is quite amazing, isn't it, Dylan, that Massimo does so well in Asia with the hot, humid conditions where he's training, and as he mentioned there, there's winter in Italy, it's cold, and coming to climates like this, it can be challenging.
Yeah, it can be, but you know, the hot and humid, he just talked about the hot and humid summers in Venice as well, so I think he's probably Massimo's getting the best of both worlds, frankly. The ability to get up in the Alps on his bike and also come out to Asia and participate and win races like this, I think it's absolutely marvellous for him. But this is a good result for him, and I think he's been able to hold Macca off, you know, by a couple of minutes on the run as well. So, you know, there he is.
Strolling across the line and raising the banner that says that he's number one. He has won this event.
Champion Massimo!
Massimo, congratulations. How does it feel to be the first Laguna Lang Co champion?
Wow, it's a great honor for me. It's an amazing day today. Everything was perfect. My swim was a very good swim. My bike was super. I know this one because it's my straight. I catch the first two guys, Chris Lieto and Chris McCormack, after 20k. So after 30k I go by my own on the bike, so I push it a lot. I want to open the gap maximum possible. Then I ran, the run was just enjoy the 12k on the golf course. It was a beautiful location. I'm very happy to be the first one to win this race.
Well, it's not just about first, it's about second and third, and coming across the line second, Dylan.
Well, Macca looks pretty happy with his second, doesn't he? And so he should be. I think he probably gave it to Massimo on the ride. I think that would have been very difficult for anybody to hold it together with Massimo, frankly. And here comes Justin Granger. That'll keep Belinda happy. He's coming in for a nice third place, and a nice one for him as well. What a great guy.
So that is the first, second and third all sorted out, and the athletes very, very happy.
How was it racing in Vietnam for your first time?
Ah, spectacular course. I thought I was doing well, but Massimo, man, when you see an athlete in that type of form, it was incredible. I thought I was riding exceptionally well. He came past so fast, it was impossible to do anything about it. Incredible performance by Massimo, and you know, I got lonely out there. Him and Chris disappeared, and I was thinking, oh wow, it's the longest 60 kilometres of my life. But it's a beautiful course. What an amazing golf course. What an amazing venue, and amazing support. And thank you very, very much for having me out here. It was a wonderful experience. I shall return.
Well, wonderful words there from Macca as they all took to the podium, didn't they, Dylan? And the times, there wasn't too much difference between the top three, was there, in relative terms?
No, not really. Massimo came in at 2:28. Chris actually was about 10 minutes back on about 2:39, and then Justin came in with a 2:49 as well. Just a couple of notes on Chris Lieto. Unfortunately, had to pull up with a Achilles or a calf injury, unfortunately, during the second lap of the run. And Freddie took a wrong turn on the bike, believe it or not. So unfortunately we didn't get to see Freddie on the podium. But anyway, better luck next time.
It goes back to what you said, check the course to ensure that all is right. And there is confirmation that it is Massimo that takes the victory. About 11 minutes ahead of Supermac and Justin Granger in third place, 10 minutes behind him.
Yeah, and a quick mention there to Ben Greenfield in 4th place, came over from the States, rides with the Timex team, great result. And also second, Jiray Durrani from Thailand, second on the run, brilliant.
Still to come on this triathlon show, it's the ladies' turn for glory. Find out who reaches the finishing line first. Well, the women's race was ongoing, and again, not only professional athletes competing, but also the amateurs for all walks of life, different challenges, different reasons, different charities. Everybody out there thoroughly enjoying themselves, Dylan.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, here's another running lesson from Radka, just coming in to complete her win. She's going to have a couple of minutes just up on Belinda as Belinda probably wasn't just able to pull it out of the bag on this course. But sensational running from a lot of the age group athletes who must have had a terrific day.
Again, a very smooth, nice, easy action there from Radka. She does look totally focused and totally in control.
Yeah, absolutely. Really just smooth it into the finish and celebrate the win. Absolutely way to do it.
That's exactly what she did as she crossed the line in first place for the ladies' event. This inaugural Laguna Lang Co Vietnam Airlines Triathlon. Victory was hers. Not that far behind, Belinda crosses the line as well. One better than her husband, so she'll be happy.
Yeah, I think they'll be celebrating tonight. Mind you, they always celebrate anyway. So. And here comes Sarah Wheeler. I mean, this is a fantastic result for her. Third place, first amateur through, absolutely brilliant.
All the amateurs coming in fourth and third place just show how important triathlon has got and how much these people do train as non-professional athletes to try and make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big sign. It's a big, you know, chunk of your day, really, when you're an amateur. But you know, having said that, the pros don't exactly make a fortune out of this sport, which is all the more reason why having the support of you know,
sponsors in the Laguna and everybody, it's so important. Yeah. Well, there is the podium. It's first, second and third. Pretty much what we expected at the top when it comes down to Radka and Belinda. And the times not too far apart there, are they, Dylan?
No, there was just a couple of minutes there in the end. But that's all Radka needed. Belinda just held on there for the contention.
Well, it was just enough as we have a look down the women's leaderboard down into the top 10. Amateurs making their way all the way up to third place, but we caught up with Radka and Belinda and got their thoughts on this race.
The conditions were perfect. I have to say thank you to heaven because finally we could have a triathlon race. The waves were really big, but I think everyone enjoyed it.
It was a wonderful race. Great swim. I love the swim. It was a little rough out there, but it made it really exciting and a lot of fun. Bike ride was super fast, beautiful roads, perfect conditions for riding because there was hardly any wind. I really enjoyed the bike ride. And then the run was tough, but we all knew it was going to be tough on the golf course, but you couldn't have asked for better conditions for a race. It was just perfect, so I really enjoyed it.
Well, after a hard day's work, what better way to recover and unwind by the resort's stunning 300-metre swimming pool. And as the sun sets, it's a benefiting time to sit back and enjoy the twilight at Mumba, the resort's resident chill-out spot for guests seeking a mellow and relaxing lounge atmosphere. Athletes then proceeded next to the pool for a very special treat. There's no better way to enjoy a dinner than by dining and feasting under the stars. And it was party central back at Mumba as the athletes simply didn't show any kind of fatigue as they danced, drank and boogied the night away. It leaves me just to say a big thank you to Dylan Wood from Meta Sports for joining us. And it's just time for me to say to you all goodbye and tambien.